Welcome to the pre-season update for fire season 08-09. Now last year everyone thought we had a quiet year. The reality was we had a very active season, it's just that we didn't have a lot of big fires. And so we weren't in the news, yet we were busy. And it's probably time that we thought about and reflected upon the key safety messages that go with us operating on a fire season that's upcoming. Weather conditions seem to indicate that we'll have an average to severe season, so we need to be ready. There are some key safety messages that you need to think about going into the fire season. They are about how we operate and some new initiatives that we want to reinforce with you through the process of this video.
In 2007, Victoria Police and the fire agencies established guidelines for traffic management points to help us manage major fires and incidents across the state of Victoria. In essence, the traffic management points can bring about a full road closure or a partial road closure. A full road closure may be implemented by the incident controller or by Victoria Police. However, in doing so, police must inform the incident management team and the incident controller of their actions. What a full closure means is a closure of the road to total traffic apart from firefighting vehicles, meaning pumpers and tankers and command and control vehicles. It has been established by the coroner that if a person is returning to their home via a traffic management point, and even though the person may have a pecuniary interest, meaning a financial interest in that home, that they can in fact be stopped from returning to their premises. A partial road closure could only be implemented by the incident controller. Certain groups, including the community, may be able to pass if it is safe to do so. So the incident controller will look at the benefits of opening up sections of the fire to the general community for the betterment of fire management. If a partial road closure has been implemented by the incident controller, the people managing that traffic control point, such as Victoria Police or the State Emergency Service, will still be able to make a judgment call if they believe that the fire has escalated to a point where it is dangerous for any person to go past that point. They will in fact be able to stop that traffic. As an example of the necessity of these guidelines, I'd like to use the 2006 Anarchy fires, whereby we implemented traffic management points with Victoria Police. It was very good to see that we were able to implement a partial road closure in this particular area, whereby we allowed the local community to return to their homes so they could actually protect them as the fire approached. The fire agencies and Victoria Police have produced a small card as a guideline for fire agency personnel to use, and this card is available from your regional office, and we would ask that the key people in fire operations keep a copy of the card with them, and that we actually keep a copy in our tankers for ready reference.
I'm here to talk about the after-action review process. This is something I think is probably going to be a cornerstone for improvement on the field, and I think it's just a critical part of what we should be doing as teams. If we don't look at what we do and how we go about our business at a crew leader level and constantly expect someone above us to solve our problems, I think as a team we're not going to improve, we're not going to get anywhere. The after-action review process is a way of doing that. And it's a very simple process, and it's something we've probably been doing in some way, shape or form for a long time. The after-action review or local debrief is different to your formal incident debrief that we have at the end of a major incident. That takes place maybe 1-2 weeks later on after an event. And by that time, a lot of the lessons have slipped by, things have changed, and we've got on with our lives. With the after-action review, this is where we actually get together as your team, your crew, immediately after an incident, a fire, a shift, or even a training event, where we sit down and just quickly go through some of the things that happened to us in that operational event. Now, It takes the format of 4 simple questions. What was planned? What actually happened? Why did it happen? And what can be done next time? It's interesting, studies have shown that 75% of learnings from an event come from performing this sort of a process, where we actually review about what we've done. The good, the bad, the ugly, if you like. And I think it's really important for us, whether you're a crew leader or a leader, or just as teams, that we solve our own problems. There's nothing worse than always constantly seeing crews and groups whining upwards about they should do this or they should fix that or whatever, where most of the problems we experience at incidents are within our sphere of influence. We can actually do something about them. And this is one way of identifying it. The key, I believe, to it though is to keep the blame game out of it. It's all about what happened, not who did what. That's not as important, is what happened. So we can pull those issues apart, what went well, what we can do better next time, sum it all up at the end, a short little, okay, these are the key points, bang, let's move on. Dust ourselves off and move on to the next job and take those lessons with us.
When firefighters turn out, they face many arduous tasks. Some of those tasks are controllable, others aren't. And one of the main ones that we face every fire season is dehydration. With dehydration, there are a number of effects that happen in the body. One of them is the lack of control of blood pressure. Another one is not getting fluids into the muscles. Muscles require fluids to be flexible, and when you look at the work that we do on the fire ground, we can sprain and strain muscles very easily if they're not hydrated properly. The other areas of concern are with the electrolytes. Our thought processes and decision-making processes deteriorate over a period of time. And the main one, the heart, requires the potassium to keep a rhythm. And too low a potassium, the same as too high a potassium, can change your heart rhythm, which in turn can cause cardiac problems in the future. CFA over the past number of years has implemented a hydration procedure, and it is mixing water with electrolyte drinks. So over the past few years you've had Staminade Hydrate out on the fire ground, and the main reason for that is to replace those electrolytes that you're losing, and in particular the sodium one, which assists in absorbing the fluid from your stomach through your bloodstream to the muscles to cause sweat and cooling of the body. This summer we will be rolling out the new structural PPC to stations, and it's something we need to be aware of. The new turnout gear will cause an increase in heat in the body and therefore a higher chance of dehydration. Another problem that we will face on the fire ground that causes dehydration is gastro problems. Most gastro problems are being caused by poor hygiene. So we need to be very much alert to the fact that when we go near food or after using the toilet, we need to clean our hands. Now, the health of firefighters is very important to the CFA, but also you need to be aware of your own health issues. If you're on medication, you really need to talk to your doctor about what effect will firefighting have on that medication and what effect will that medication have on you while you're on the fire ground. Prior to fire season, when you're putting together your away kit, please put in a spare pack of medication and leave it there for the whole fire season. If you go away and you don't have the medication with you, you may end up in hospital or being treated for the underlying problem.
The previous wording of the Chief Officer's SOP in relation to wearing seatbelts may have been confusing. For this reason, the SOP has been reviewed and some changes made. Under the new SOPs, drivers and passengers within the cabin of the vehicle must wear seatbelts at all times. This applies when travelling in both on-road and off-road situations. Each crew member is responsible for their own seatbelt use. In addition, if you are the crew leader or the driver, you should check that all members are wearing their seatbelts before the vehicle moves. The SOP allows the crew members on the deck area to work without wearing a seatbelt when undertaking operational duties. However, before doing this, you must conduct a dynamic risk assessment to determine that it is safe to do so. This means that unless you are actively involved in suppressing the fire or involved in observation duties, you must be seated and wearing your seatbelt. When you are travelling from one location to another, irrespective of the distance, take a break, sit down and wear your seatbelt. We are all responsible for looking after each other. Drivers have the added responsibility of looking after their crew, so please help your driver by wearing your seatbelt and ensuring that those around you are also wearing theirs. Seatbelts do save lives, so please buckle up.
So there you have it, a number of new key messages and some reinforcement for other messages that perhaps we should already know. I ask that you think about these messages and discuss it amongst your brigade members. Remember that safety is everyone's responsibility, and you as an individual can show leadership in this area. So let's remember the primary aim when we go firefighting, that we come home safely to our families afterwards.